The Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James won the NBA in-season tournament, the first ever. Does that mean the NBA is rigged? The LeBron stands are going to say no. The rest of the NBA, who hates LeBron and hates the Lakers, is obviously going to say yes. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about what the in-season tournament means. Do the players care about it? Do we care about it? Do the fans care about it? Is it cool? Where do we land on it now that it's all said and done? Is it cool? Did anybody care about it? We're going to talk about it all right now on the pod. Let's go.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
It's Triple Cross Podcast. You win stuff by watching us, by commenting. So comment, let us know. What do you feel about the in-season tournament? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Is it a Mickey Mouse ring for LeBron? Is it just like they're basically regular season games? Drop it in the comments. Comments we like win stuff. So we pick comments every week and we give away NBA swag, signed jerseys, cards, gift cards, things like that. So drop it in the comments. Let us know what you think. I'm John J3X on all the socials. This is Casey at Niners Fan Man. Casey, let's get right into this. LeBron stands are always in LeBron stands mind now. He has another ring. He has now matched Jordan, right? That's 5.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even know. I think it's 4. No, but it's 5. That's 5. He's got 6 rings now for a LeBron stan. Actually, don't know if that's true. I don't know if any LeBron stan can actually make the case that this is a real ring. But LeBron haters basically had two tweets loaded up here. The first tweet was LeBron's finals record is now 4-7. LeBron never wins championships. That was tweet number 1 if he lost. If he won, it was, yeah, LeBron was the only person who cared about this. The NBA is rigged, and LeBron just wins Mickey Mouse rings. Either way, LeBron and the Lakers were going to go down in the narrative here. If the Pacers won, everybody be like, cool, Pacers won the in-season tournament. But that's not how it plays out. So we get to make more fun content. Casey, let me kick it to you because I've been talking a lot. Your thoughts. Let's kick it off. Your thoughts on the in-season tournament. Were you even paying attention?
Oh, I mean, to the tournament or to what you were just saying?
Well, I mean, I hope you were paying attention to what I was just saying. I assumed you were paying attention to what I was saying.
I mean, that would be assuming that I'm a good co-host of our show
right.
We've been doing now for over a year. I think both are pretty loose assumptions, honestly. No, okay. I'll just be honest with you. I was listening to what you were saying. I did not see too much of the in-season tournament. Right, the commitment to watch every game is a lot. Saw some headlines for sure. Watched a little bit of gameplay. Know what it boiled down to essentially, and I do have thoughts on your opening statement.
Yes,
but I think you want me to hold that for a second.
Well, no, I mean we can get into it because
you want to dice it up. We got to
dice it up. We could chop it up. We could cut it up. We could slice it up. We could. What's another word, dude? I don't know.
We could mince it.
We could mince it up. Yes,
let's mince. That was
actually
deep. That was my bag of tricks is like this, and I went.
You went way down. Yeah, let's mince it. Actually, of all the things, I like mincing it. I want to get into the rigged thing because basically, anytime the Lakers win anything, the question is the NBA rigged, or anytime LeBron wins?
Oh, I thought you said the ring thing.
The rigged thing, right? So I want to start out at the rigged thing and say like.
You mean the tournament?
Let's start there. Yeah. I want to start out at the tournament, the rigged thing. To what degree is this rigged? Like, this is very storybook. It's in Las Vegas. He wants to be the owner of the team in Las Vegas. What do you think here? Like, how rigged are we talking? Scale of 1 to 10.
Okay. How much to answer that question? I have to get a sense of where we are. How rigged is a regular NBA game?
Well, I mean, if it's like
serious question,
if it's like the Magic,
can we agree?
If it's like the Hornets and the Pistons, 0. If it's, you know what I mean?
But I said the average NBA game. It's not 0, right?
Well, okay, so I think
about a 2. I'm about a 2 on the rigged scale for all professional sports, probably. Like,
right? Yeah. There's at least some subtle underlying like knowledge that like, well, if things go this way, there creates a better narrative, right?
Which is just.
Everybody knows
it's rigged light, right?
Yeah,
we're not drinking Coors Original. We're drinking, rigged light here. Right. So, given that we're already at a 2 baseline, I'm going to say that the tournament probably 3 to 4 is all. I'm not going to like rig down, but maybe a notch up, like 1 notch up.
So do you think that well, okay, let's actually go down a little progression chart here, because like if somebody says it's rigged, that's actually kind of like a rigged statement. Because like, what do you mean by that? Do you mean this is like outright overtly scripted?
No.
All right, so let's start here. Refs. Like, do the refs, is it like covert? Like they kind of know how things are supposed to go?
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I'm going to
Yeah.
put it pretty loosely, conspiracy theory kind of guy here. Like
Mhm.
I want to do it justice and not make it seem like super like tinfoil hat, but I don't know exactly who would be in charge of it. Right? I think it's more of like this like big corporation type of thing. There's a diffusion of responsibility, but there is a little bit of editing that kind of goes on, right? Better team superstars certainly get the benefit of the doubt on calls, things like that. But I'm not going to say the refs are colluding. Like I don't think that's what it is. I just think we've built an atmosphere with the powers that be that allow for the game to be slanted a little bit, average 2 in the regular season. I'm going to say within this tournament, it slants maybe half again or maybe double. I'm getting a little crazy. Maybe double. Still only a 4 out of 10, not full blown rigged. I don't think that they scripted it for the Lakers to win, but I think this is a new tradition that the NBA obviously wants to get momentum more and more seasons. So they're aware that they want a good narrative through line.
Yeah, who's a big fan base that we could get on board with this?
And why not get the LeBron, like at the back of the LeBron era? We can all agree whether he plays a couple more seasons or not.
Yeah,
this is the back
he's
of the
not
era.
playing 20 more.
No. Why not make his name synonymous with the in-season tournament?
A lot of people are saying they want to name this trophy after him.
They might. Who knows?
So here's where I'll put the line. I think generally, I don't think that the refs are like overtly told, here's who we want to win games, and especially in every game, like maybe in key games, but like here's actually how I think it shakes out. Because this is one of those things that's like, these are key games in the in-season tournament, but they're not like, this isn't the championship. So I think normally there's this weird incentive system where if you call games that tend to go a certain way, that create better narratives, your reffing crew just ends up on better and better games. You guys end up on more playoff games. You guys end up on more like TNT and ESPN games, and not just on like the freaking local and league pass games. So that's I think that there's just like a weird incentive system where that happens. And then the way that they deflect it is they find like one place to focus it. So it's like the Scott Foster thing, or something like that, where it's like, where we can all be like, oh, well, that guy's clearly corrupt, but it's like allows it all to be sort of okay, but nobody's asking about what the incentive system is for these refs to get higher pay and to get on better games. Nobody knows that. So I think that's what it normally is. Here's where I think it pumps up to for something like the in-season tournament. I think that for something like the in-season tournament, it might be like a league exec or someone. There's nothing in writing and there's nothing even overtly said, but it might be something like, some league exec or somebody says in passing to the reffing squad, how storybook would it be if LeBron won the inaugural in-season champion? There's just passing statements that sort of signal
almost too good to be true.
This would be a great narrative if this went. I mean, obviously, we're not scripting this, right? This is an unscripted league, but how great would it be, ref who has a lot of control over the outcome of this, if this happens. So I think the refs are complicit and not subconsciously. I think they kind of know that they're complicit, but not in any kind of way where it could really backfire on them. And I think the league execs are complicit again, and not in any kind of way where it could really backfire on them. Here's where we get to like, how scripted is this? Coaches, how in on the narrative, how in on the script, the script that we all joke about, how in on that are the coaches?
Man. Well, let me answer your question with a question. Do you believe that, in your opinion, obviously we're in opinion land, but in your opinion, is it basically all coaches are about the same level of that like 0 to 10 rating too? Or is there maybe somebody who's a little bit more of a league shill?
Ooh, well, who would you think?
Nobody.
Like, would you see like Darvin Ham, like Lakers coaches, like more of a league shill, or what do you think?
I would default to you, honestly, because if we were talking about NFL, I'd probably have some decent stuff to say here.
Jerry Jones feels like a league shill, right?
Yeah, Jerry Jones maybe. Well,
like there's just a deal. There's an understanding.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. At every level, there's a matter of this. Like Jerry Jones is an example of an owner who I think is more so maybe leaning towards that because he gets benefit from the league all the time too. So there might be more cahoots going on. At the coach level, I think there's less than at the owner level. But I think at the owner level, it fluctuates. So therefore, do they fluctuate at the coach level? So I tend to think, just a broad answer, if I'm answering it's the same thing as football, I tend to think almost none. Like there might be exceptions, but almost none, because you're playing for your jobs. The only people would be people who are taking the only coaches I think would be candidates for this, generally speaking, are coaches who continually take bottom of the barrel head coaching jobs. There's a reason why they stay in head coaching talks, and they get to be that, even though like Ron Rivera maybe comes to mind in the NFL, somebody like that. You're like, he's still a head coach, doesn't have a lot to say for like in recent years. Different guys like that. You're like, why are they still around? Well, I think the league is comfortable with them, and they also have the league's back when push comes to shove. I think that's as far as cahoots go with head coaches.
All right.
Do you feel the same about the NBA? Do you feel the same?
No, because those types of coaches, bottom of the barrel coaches, get washed out and they just don't get jobs.
So you're the other way. You think it's even less.
I don't think that there's any league shills for coaches. Like when you ask that, I'm like, I can't think of someone who I think is like a league shill. It would have to be a big market guy like a Darvin Ham or like but LeBron gets to pick his Lord Commander, right?
That's
so like,
actually a good point. It might
it would have to be a Spoelstra or somebody like that. But those those coaches that are taking bottom of the barrel jobs, that's like Isaiah Thomas, Bill, like they just kind of get washed out, and they don't get jobs anymore. Jason Kidd, it's kind of like crazy that he's getting another chance after getting ousted in Milwaukee, right? So that would be like the candidate for what you were talking about, but then now he's doing well in Dallas. So I think I don't think that there's any particular league shills, which actually puts me more on the side of like, I think the coaches, like, I think that the level of scripting and the level of guidance and riggedness in the NBA, like it has to go a certain, like the league can't just let like all things just happen. Like there's definitely things where it's like, here's what I think it is. So Emmanuel Mudiay was on a podcast recently. Emmanuel Mudiay, very obscure NBA player name, kind of a career role player. He was on a podcast recently. Yeah, he was on a podcast recently where he talked about his time with the Jazz, and it was when Quinn Snyder was coaching, and he had been playing well. He'd been earning his minutes. He's getting 10, 12 minutes a night, and the Jazz ended up getting someone he didn't name who was making money. He was on like a league minimum or maybe $1 million or something like that, and the Jazz ended up getting someone who's getting paid, and Quinn called him into the office and just said, "I'll just be real with you, like." You're not going to get any more minutes. And he's like, what can I do better? He's like, you've done everything right. Like this guy makes this much per year. I have to play him. Yeah. Right. And so like, I think there's that. The coaches know that. The coaches are like, there's certain players that I have to give minutes to, right? Like there's like, if you get a top 5 pick, you're like, I gotta let them shake out as much as I can, before I like relegate them. Or if you get a Chet or a Wemby, it's like I have to get them touch. I have to draw stuff up for them, right? So I think that there's that knowledge. I think that's about as much as the coaches are in on it. Players, let's go to that level. How much do you think the players are in on it?
I think I see it as a continuum. We're going further and further down, probably.
Right, like less and less.
With the caveat that like there are still exceptions where like LeBron and the league might be in more cahoots with one another than any coach. You know what I mean? Because his job security is ultimate.
I think there's just this like unsaid knowledge where LeBron knows like
the league's got his back.
I'm gonna get calls. I'm gonna get calls. The league's got my back. Yeah.
Yeah, like mutual success. Like if LeBron's success is NBA success, the same way we saw like Tom Brady's success being the same as NFL success for him at the end of his career. It's the same thing. Yes. But other than that, I can't even think of anybody who is even has their interest fully aligned with the NBA in the same way. Yeah, I can't think of anyone.
But I don't think there's any kind of overt thing. So this is kind of what I say for Rick is like if there are people who think that it's so scripted that like the coaches know what
like we know the finals matchup now. Somebody thinks that.
Then honestly, why are you an NBA fan? Because you think you're watching the WWE at this point.
Well, because they're
wait, hold on. I guess that was a spoiler. Hopefully everybody here knew. I don't know if everybody knew. WWE scripted. I'm letting that out of the back. I don't know if it's called the WWE anymore, but like professional wrestling script, like that's what you think you're watching if you think that it's that rigged. or maybe you just think that only key things are that rigged, and for the most part they just let it go. I don't know, but like,
let it go.
I don't know why you would even be a fan if you think that it's that much. So anybody who's kind of like bringing it up now because LeBron won it and because the Lakers won it and because they just hate LeBron and or the Lakers, I think they're just like, you can't possibly be a fan if you really think it's this rigged, like, or you're just a WWE fan, then shut up about it. Like, why even talk about it? Then you've already accepted that it's that rigged. Like, why are you surprised then that the script did exactly what you thought the script would do?
I think this tournament falls pretty much smack dab in between the regular season and the actual playoffs as far as like the slanted landscape. I think, like I said, it's like a 3 out of 3 or 4, where the playoffs might actually be like at least like a 4 or 5, maybe approaching 6 if you want to get real spicy, but I don't even know if I go there. So it makes sense that it slants a little bit towards LeBron and the Lakers. But ultimately, you know, that's just the way that it shakes out. I do want to say really quick though, something I thought we were circling back to. I don't see this as a real ring. Hopefully that didn't need to be said, really.
Well, we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that a little bit more. Like, what is this? What does this mean? What does this in-season tournament like win mean? Like, let's get into this. What does this in-season tournament win mean? And like, how in on this are we as fans? How in on are the players? How in on this are we as like kind of a collective community or league? So, I want to share this. So this is just like Twitter's most viral stuff on this is kind of like the Twitter conversation on in-season tournament. So this is actually the most watched non-Christmas NBA. So Christmas, big day for NBA, kind of the Thanksgiving of NBA. If we're talking football to basketball comparison, Thanksgiving definitely has more football viewership than Christmas has basketball viewership, but football just has more viewership. So, but Christmas is sort of that for the NBA. It's very high viewership on that day. This is the most watched non-Christmas NBA game in the regular season in 6 years.
If you thin that window out, it might make it bigger. It might get rid of the sidebar. Just saying, if you thin the window, just because I can't read that, so I'm sure people.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, there we go. There we go, John. Now we're cooking. Sorry to throw you off, but
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, thanks for saying that. So definitely, people were watching. People cared. Like, I don't know. I think there's this other thing that we do where if we don't like how it played out and we don't like how it got scripted,
rigged.
We like to change. We either say it's rigged or we like to go change history. So this is something people are doing about the bubble championship now. Is people are saying like, oh yeah, like a bunch of teams didn't really care about that, or even players are saying that now. I'm like, did you really not care at the time? Like, come on, like
Devin Booker cared.
Yeah. So definitely that. But I want to play this Skip Bayless. Everybody probably already knows this who's watching this. Consummate LeBron hater. Dude has been anti-LeBron since LeBron was born. So if you don't like LeBron, here's about the guy who's going to be most on your side out of anybody in the world. I'll restart the clip.
I was talking about.
Hit me with it.
Every team that wins one will put it in the Raptors. Every one.
Well, I mean, maybe Sacramento will, but I don't know about
everyone. Miami. I'm just trying to think of ones that got multiple championships.
This is what got me.
Detroit, Chicago.
Just 12 days before Saturday night, you went to Philadelphia and lost by 44 points. It was the worst beating LeBron has suffered in his entire 21-year career. Okay, I got it. But that happened. And then 2 nights later, you were in Oklahoma City and you lost by 23 to the Young Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, boy, and LeBron is talking about a lot has got to change. But then a whole lot of teams, almost bubble-like, did not take this nearly as seriously as LeBron and company took it.
That's their fault. Take it serious next time.
Okay. Right. So it became a microcosm of the bubble championship where a bunch of teams are like, we're out. We don't care about this. What does it really matter?
So you don't think any teams, and I'll say this to you again for the 19,000th time, you don't think any teams wanted to win the championship in the bubble? You don't think any of them wanted to win the championship in the bubble?
I think the Lakers wanted to win it way more than anybody else.
That's your fault then. That's your fault that you didn't want to win a world championship. That ain't got nothing to do with LeBron and the Lakers.
Yeah.
Play better.
I thought, speaking of the Clippers, I thought they were a little better than that Lakers team because that Clippers team was really good.
No, they were good. Doc was the coach.
Hold on.
All right. Yeah, I mean, you get the gist of it there. I don't know if there was any audio problems or anything like that, but basically Skip Bayless says LeBron cared way more than anybody else about this one. And he's basically comparing it to the 2020 championship. This is what all LeBron haters are doing right now. This is, they're just saying, oh, LeBron great at winning Mickey Mouse stuff that nobody else cares about. Skip's just trying to bring up other teams in 2020 who are better than the Lakers. Other two guys saying like, well, okay, care more, play better. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So let me kick this to you. Did LeBron care more about this in-season tournament win than anybody, than like all the other players or all the other teams? Did the Lakers and LeBron care more about this than the other teams? Let's start there.
I think I would, if anything, I would look at it with reverse mindset. There might be some teams that have a longer vision and care more about, let's win some games. It's not like we care about each particular game. We don't care how we finish in this tournament, let's say.
Right.
I think there are some teams that qualify for that view. I don't know that at the other end, at the high end of the spectrum, I don't know that there's one team that stands above all the rest that cares more, if that makes sense, right? Like, I think at the very least, there's a handful, more like half of the teams would be really stoked to win it. So like they're going to try their hardest to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
I also like in that clip, by the way, that Sherm just like trying to get involved and Keyshawn Johnson just shutting him down. Like Sherm just can't get a word in edgewise.
Yeah.
Can't find a foothold. Keyshawn really was passionate about this one. So
I also like that we're like debating NBA with two football players. Like Skip's like, I've been watching this my whole life. You guys were playing football for a bunch of that time.
Well,
so,
just to be fair, a lot of athletes are fans of other.
I think Skip's super off base here. I don't think people didn't care in the bubble. I don't think that like this narrative that the Clippers didn't care. And like, I think, Terrence Mann or somebody went on a podcast and said, yeah, we kind of wanted out there. I think that's changing history. I think it's like, we totally could have won that. Yeah, everybody has that. And I'm not saying they're lying. I'm not saying they're making it up. I think people change their past narratives to like give themselves more confidence. Right. So I think that's just like people changing history, people changing the narrative to sort of benefit themselves in their own minds. I don't think it's like a public thing. I think it's them giving themselves confidence.
I actually don't love the comparison between the two, even though I get it and I get why it's happening. But I will say for this in particular thing, I think it's likely that it was pretty similar with the bubble too. Same thing. I think there were plenty of teams that were trying as hard as they could, wanted to win ultimately. And there were probably a few that were still in the mix, maybe good teams that were like, there's things bigger than basketball right now, right? Because like that was a big thing back then. I mean, we were in the thick of it, kind of, like this was the first sport that had to deal with it, if I'm not mistaken, right? When it came to COVID. And they were like,
this was ground zero. Yeah.
I don't know. So like, I think we were still in the age where there were going to be some of those players, especially with certain like ideologies, political beliefs, maybe, where they go like, hey, there's things bigger than basketball right now. I mean, I don't think that's crazy to say. So you have a player or two like that who are key players on your team, and you're going to your team's going to have a different outlook on the overall tournament. I mean, I think that's fair to say, but I disagree with everything Skip is saying. Some both sides of my mouth a bit.
Skip is always going to look for anti-LeBron narratives. And look, I actually want to preface this because if we have any first-time viewers or listeners, they're probably like, "Oh, y'all are just LeBron stans." We're really not. We actually are. We're pretty anti-LeBron on this show. I think that like. And this is sort of where I'm going with this. So I'll stamp this now, and I'm going to go to another clip because I want to answer the question, like, did the players care about this? I watched a ton of basketball. I watched a lot of these games. I'm going to stamp this now and say, like LeBron catching heat for winning the in-season tournament is just ridiculous. Like, even if he cared more, maybe he did care a little more. Maybe he specifically, not the Lakers, but he specifically cared a little more because he's like, I want to be an owner in here. I want to be synonymous with Las Vegas basketball.
Maybe he thinks they can't win a real championship. So he's like, this is my last like real big win of my career potentially.
Yeah, I don't think he thinks that. But
I'm just saying maybe.
Right. Like maybe he did care a little bit more than other. But like Skip being like, oh, this is a Mickey Mouse. Like even people saying it's a Mickey Mouse thing. Right. Like it's like, okay, I don't think LeBron's out here saying that it's the same as an NBA. Nobody is. No LeBron stans are saying that this is the same as an NBA championship. LeBron isn't saying that. This is a straw man argument that like LeBron haters and Lakers haters are putting up to say like, oh yeah, like they're going to think this is another championship now. Like, no, they don't. They just think it's like something that we care a little bit more about than regular season games. So I'm going to go to a clip of Paul George here. This is his statements before the tournament started. right? So, not changing history here. Before the tournament started, here's what Paul George said about it. We got it on Instagram. So,
have you and the team maybe come up with a game plan on how you're gonna
sorry about it.
Oops.
Little technical issue here.
Everybody hold on your hats.
Team maybe come up with a game plan on how you're gonna approach this new in-season tournament games?
I mean, just win.
Just go hoop.
Just go hoop, try to win. I mean, you want to rack up enough wins. We just know going into those games, let's lock in. This game is counted for something else. It means a little bit more trying to get seeded properly into this in-season tournament.
What have you heard from other guys around the league as far as their thoughts on this new thing the NBA is doing?
I saw the Bones clip of the unsureness.
Yeah, I did see that. He's like, honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, of the unsureness of how this goes. I think everybody kind of understands it, but it's just more so of how is this going to play out? Like, because then there's a week break in between season for the actual in-season tournament in Vegas. It's new to us. How does this work? How is this going to play out? How is it all going to go for the first year?
Have you and the team maybe come up with a game plan on how?
Actually, what I'm excited about is the jerseys and the floors.
I seen one.
See, that's
Can I get
crazy.
A jersey ASAP, P?
You seen our new ones?
The clips.
Oh, those are
I need one of the
dope.
clips.
They're getting
P.
a lot of negative feedback on those jerseys.
They are.
Some of them.
That's why I'm so.
All right, we can cut it there because they just start talking about the jerseys and the floor, which we'll get into in a second. But I wanted to what did you hear there? Because I'll tell you what I heard is definitely influenced by what I saw while I was watching in-season tournament games. So what did you hear there from Paul George about how much they cared about in-season tournament?
It does seem like again, this is before it started. It does seem like not everybody cared 100%. They care. I actually feel better about my take about it. About there's going to be at least some players and some teams by the fact that players make up teams.
Yeah,
there's going to be some teams that are less in on winning the tournament, but they still want to win games within the tournament, right? Because this goes to the season record. So yeah, it matters. I will say, I mean, my overall thoughts on the tournament itself. Yeah, the ramifications for the league. I like the move. I like there being an in-season tournament. I think it, like you said, the ratings were good, right? It does build. It's artificial, right? They're just regular season games. Doesn't count for anything else. Maybe it matters more in a way that the way they build it up and they market it, right? And as marketers, I don't want to say we see through that, but we understand the effect of, hey, they're just marketing this. They're just regular season games. They're bunching together. But we see that the only thing separate from this being regular season games, and that's it, is the fact that they're marketing it differently. And good on them for that, I think. Yeah. It's a long season. There's a lot of games. It's not like football where there's 17 games for every team. Every single game matters a lot. These earlier games in particular in the NBA season, why would, I don't mean to say it like this, but especially the non-deepest NBA fan, why would they care if they know they can just tune in before the playoffs and
right. Let me put it this way. Here's what I heard him say, and I'll recap it because I think some of our live viewers weren't able
get ready.
Here's what I heard him say. I heard him say, we're confused about how it works, which is valid because there was a lot of pool play, and then it's basically a 4-team tournament or so it's there's a bunch of pool play and then a very small group tournament basically. So I think he's we were confused about how it works, but what we do know is this means more than just a normal regular season game. We got to lock in and play these. Of course, it's just hoop. Are we going to play hurt? No. Are we going to sacrifice the rest of our season? No. I think this is where all this team stood. I think if LeBron was dealing with an injury, he would have sat an in-season tournament game, right? If AD is dealing with an injury, he's going to sit an in-season tournament game. That's all the teams. I think they all cared to that degree. I think they all said, this is in-season plus. We care a little bit more about this. We want, this is a game we have circled on the calendar of one we really want to show up and lock in for. And, if we can get into the in-season finals and win the in-season tournament, we want to. All right. So that's where they started. All right. And then I want to get into the marketing of it because they started there. And we all as fans and community and content creators were saying before, this is pointless. This is so stupid. Like, why? It's not going to mean anything. They're not going to care about it at all. But here's some stuff. Here's some stuff I want to tell you that happened in the in-season tournament, or as a result of the in-season tournament. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in the Clippers. Like, this is a great example of a team that doesn't care about anything but the playoffs, right? They load manage, they do all that. How many games do you think Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have missed this year?
Oh man, I have no idea. Tell me.
They've played roughly 20 games. 0. Both of them 0. They've both played every game, playing 30 minutes plus.
Wow.
Right? So they're playing.
I know Kawhi in particular was playing more, but I didn't realize it was every game.
They are playing these games and they're freaking playing them hard. And the Clippers got knocked out, but like, so that's something I've seen. I've watched these in-season tournament games, and it's like I'm watching March Madness. Like, they're hustling on defense, they're diving after loose balls. I watched the Celtics be up by 20 points, over 20 points on the Chicago Bulls, and started hacking Andre Drummond to send him to the line because they needed to win by 23 to get out of their pool. 20 points. Like, what do you usually do when you're up 20 points? You clear the benches and you go into junk minutes. They left in their starters and they started hacking the worst free throw player on the floor so that they could get the ball back so that they could score. Like, they cared. They started out being like, yeah, circled game on the calendar. And then they got into it and they're like, okay, well, we can, like, they're competitive dudes. So I do want to get into this a little bit. Like, how was it? Like, I feel like it was a little bit of a slippery slope where it's like, we all kind of cared. How was it that by the end of it, it seemed like, okay, at first we kind of cared, and like by the time we're done with pool play, even it's like, no, it's more than kind of. Like, it's not like the playoffs, but it's more than kind of. They care about these games. Like, if you're watching them, there's no denying that. I think there's like really a few things that the league did, but I want to get your take on it as like a more casual who maybe didn't even watch all the in-season tournament games. How do you think that they've made them do this? Do you think this is like pure coercion or what?
I don't know, man. I think that
because the NBA is just this classic load managing. We don't care about the games in November, but they got them to play hard.
I love anything that breaks them out of that. First of all, like,
yeah,
asking why, I guess I am a little bit more unsure, but I agree with like the result. I agree that it happened, and I agree like that this is good for the league. Because I think that's a lot of stuff that turns off a lot of the more casual fans. Is like,
yes,
hey, stars aren't even going to play. Like, what the hell are we watching here? Like, they're not even putting the best product out there that they can. Like, they're treating the regular season like it doesn't matter. I think that they probably, my best answer would be the league left it open-ended like that. Like, the confusion might have been more by design than a side effect, right? Because when you leave it all looming and big from daddy league, league bucks, they go like, hey, it's gonna matter. They're not regular season games, and then the players might respond with something like, "But they're just regular season games," and they go, "No." Like, you know what? Like, it's like, I don't. The tone itself is like a tone setter. I mean, I think that's where we get that expression.
Yeah. So here's. I think it was a slippery slope. I think this was honestly some of the like and as a marketer, I love this. So we're gonna like get a little bit because I think they kind of like slippery sloped everybody into caring, like the fans into caring about the in-season tournament by slippery sloping the players into caring about the in-season tournament and the coaches. And this is where this is how it started. At first, they said it all started last year with the new Players Association agreement when they said we're going to do this in-season tournament. The players are like, probably like whatever, just like all of we were. But then they just said, okay, guys, look. I know, like we know it's just this in-season thing, but it's going to help. There's going to be more money involved. Like, you guys kind of got it. Like, don't act like you're acting right now. Act like it's cool, right? Like, so they started by just telling them, hey guys, just act like it's cool. And then they took a bunch of stars and they made them shoot commercials for it, right? So they bring them to Vegas, they make them shoot commercials for it, right? And so at first it's just this like sort of coercion, and then they introduced the 500,000 per player thing, and the players who would not think it's cool normally, a lot of them came out and said, like, look, $500K to Damian Lillard, to LeBron James. Look, I'm not turning it away. I like $500K, but like who it really matters to is like that two-way player, right? Or that like that guy at the end of the bench, like who might only have 1 year in the league. That's kind of like very like life-changing money for him, right? And so then you got the superstars who are like, they like this kid, but nobody is ever going to know who this kid is. And they're like, I want to set him up. So then the money comes in and they start caring a little bit more. And then the floors and the jerseys. Paul George said it in there. I'm actually kind of excited about the jerseys and the floors. The floors and the jerseys came in.
The floors were sweet. I like the floors a lot.
The floors were sweet, and they visually made it different. Like this is like people's brains do that. They're like, oh, this is a different thing now. Like we're all little kids. You know, when you're a little kid, you walk into a store and they've changed everything around, and your little kid brain goes, this is a different store now.
Yeah.
Like we're
they
all old enough.
Kid brains. They hacked their inner child's.
They hacked their little kid brains, and they said, this is a different thing, right? You're in different jerseys, you're in different floors, and they hacked all the fans' little kid brains, and they walk in there and they're like, damn, look at that. Like
I
this
think
is different
too.
You know,
I think this is even, I'll take it one step further. I think this is like, this justifies the kind of slow progress you see in leagues, and progress defined by only the people who like it, honestly.
Yeah.
But like how we say, like, these leagues need to do something to change things, and they kind of go year after year without doing it. All sports leagues, it feels like the change comes like a couple of years too late. You're like, we're kind of bored with this part is boring. They finally did something, but they let that tension build. And then when they chose to deliver on something that the league itself cared about, because they know it's going to make them revenue, it's not just a regular tweak that would just make, you know, a everyday improvement, like a quality of life improvement on watching the whole season. They go, no. This is a change that first and foremost will benefit us as the league owners. Now let's throw them the bone, the superficial thing that we've always known they've wanted. Let's throw some new uniforms. Let's throw some cool floors out there. Let's make them care about this thing that we actually want them to care about, not just regular season games for regular season games' sake. So I like it. It's a good move.
It is. So here's this is where I think it like kind of pinnacled and tipped, is that you have all that building up, right? So they hacked they did all that. They're like, oh, you guys got to say that you like it. But then without, then they throw this other stuff in that like makes it easier for the players to be, oh yeah, they told us we have to say that we like this. So let's say that we like the floors and the jerseys, but really they do, and let's say that we like the money. That's cool for the younger player, right? And that like they get them saying it over and over, and then a couple things happen, right? Like then a game that's close, you see guys diving for balls, you see guys maybe running up that score a little bit, and like all the players and all the teams. And then you also see guys in post-game conferences saying like, yeah, it seems like we're getting up more for these games. Like this in-season tournament thing is making people play harder. Right. And a couple of those interviews happen, and it's like, we're all waiting like, oh, is it cool to care about this? And then once we see somebody caring about it, like, well, okay, well, if you care about it, then I'm gonna beat you. Right. Like if you care about it, then I'm gonna care about it. And I'm gonna be, and so then at first it was just like, oh, they're just regular in-season games that look a little different. That's fun, but then as soon as they saw some other players caring about it, or somebody after a win says like, yeah, no, we wanted to win this one, then it just triggers all this confirmation bias of like, we've been saying we like it, now it looks different, and now other players are saying they care, and now I freaking care, right? Like, and I think they just slippery slope the players into caring. You slippery slope the players into caring, that just creates so much better of a product. The fans are going to be like, this is an amazing game.
It's the right view too, because they like I said when we talked about like the playing field being sloped a little bit, maybe towards LeBron, maybe like I'm not even confirming that. I'm just saying if that's true, the view that it makes sense that they tie his name to this tournament makes sense for the league, right? They also don't need the first one to be the biggest thing ever, right? They just need it to set a decent bar, which I think they've done. And next year they need as much or more buy-in from the players. Hopefully this eliminates some of the confusion, because they go like, oh no, I mean, it did matter that the Lakers won that. And
both teams in the finals were undefeated in pool play. Like you couldn't lose an in-season tournament game and make it to the finals.
If nothing else, the fact that we're talking about it like this, just like a lot of sports media outlets are, that might be the thing next year at this time. Teams go, I don't know, they talked about it for fucking forever, so like I would like to win that tournament, I guess, just as bad as anything. Like I think at a certain point they're competitive people, and if they do lock in, it's not like I'm at a 9 out of 10. It's like no, if you're all the way in, or you're mentally not all the way in. And I think some players might have been like that this year. I think next year there will be fewer of those, probably just about zero of them who matter.
Right. Yeah. So all in, like, to kind of wrap a bow on this whole thing, is it a Mickey Mouse ring? No, because I don't think anybody was saying that it's a real championship. As a basketball fan, I was one of the most skeptical people you could be on the in-season tournament. I don't know if I ever said it on the pod, but like, you ask Casey, he can vouch, and I can vouch for it. Yeah. I can vouch for your ability to vouch, right? Like, I was very skeptical. I was like, this is stupid. Nobody's going to care about it. As a fan of basketball, I'm all the way in on in-season tournament. Like, they definitely made the players care, and making the players care makes NBA basketball so good. Because what's the thing everybody says about college basketball? Oh, they just try so much harder. Yeah, it's hard to try in an 82-game season when you're playing 3-4 times a week. I get it. when you watch NBA players try, they're just so much better. Like they're so good at basketball that like basketball just gets really, really good when you watch that. And the floors are awesome. The jerseys are awesome. I'm all the way in 100% on the in-season tournament. And I think the other teams were too. I think the Pacers wanted to win. I think the Celtics definitely wanted to win. The Pacers knocked them out. The Pelicans definitely wanted to win, and the Lakers knocked them out. Like this wasn't easy. This wasn't an easy road for the Lakers. So as much as I hate the Lakers, I hate LeBron, usually I got to get my hats off to them. Like this was a tough, I don't think this was like just a soft win, honestly.
I like your point, and I want to add to it. I think another factor is like not attendance per se, but like quality of attendance. Like people like NCAA games too, because the fans are a little bit more into it. Maybe you could at least make the argument for sure, right? Like smaller venues, no doubt, right? First,
you're
of all,
right on top of the players. You can talk to them.
Yeah, way more likely they're sold out because there's just so fewer seats. So like, of course, you can sell out a game for on campus, right? NBA, I don't know the numbers of attendance numbers. I don't know if they're all sold out anyway, or if it's just the big teams probably do. But even when the stadium's sold out, not everybody's on their feet all game long. Like a playoff game has a different vibe, right?
Oh yeah.
I think college maybe does a better job of the average kind of regular season game. Maybe there's a little bit more zhuzh going into it.
Yeah.
And I think this is exactly the kind of mechanism that the league needs to bring a little more of that environment to the regular season game, because it's lopsided from something like football, right? Like football, there's only so few games anyway that people get up a little bit more for it. I think bring it to the other major sport, baseball. And I think that's where you lose a lot of fans from other sports.
It's too much. Yeah.
I mean, if I told you there was a fan sitting in the stands with his feet up on the back of the next row, and he was also the only fan for like a radius of like 4 seats, like what sport do you immediately go
baseball.
to? You're like, he's got a hot dog in one hand and he's
probably taking a nap. He might take like an hour-long nap.
Not anything away from baseball fans either. Like that's a vibe.
It's America's
if you're into that, you're into that. Yeah. Right. And baseball's doing things to try to change that as well, too.
Yeah.
But I think basketball's in that middle ground, right? Where it's not really like football, where regular season games, people are mostly standing anyway. Like basketball is trying to move more that way, and I respect that move. So I'm going to always talk good about it. I'm like you. I kind of went in thinking this could be dumb, but we're similar.
I'm all the way. I'm great. Hats off. I rarely say hats off to the league.
Should they do more than one? Should they have another? I mean, think 5 years in the future.
Well, here's kind of what I like about it. It's like, okay, so we got season starts. Everybody's kind of excited. As soon as things die down, we get in-season tournament games sprinkled in, pool play games sprinkled in. Okay, fun. Like we got a little mix up. Now it's mid-December, in-season tournament's over, but now we got Christmas games to look forward to, right? Mm-hmm. And then after Christmas games, you got basically about a month and a half until All-Star break, right? So you got that like middle push. That's probably going to be about the most dull part of the season, because then after the All-Star break, things start to like matter, right? So I like the timing. You know, I don't know what they need to do in that January section. That's probably the most dull part of the season.
Maybe one more.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's a quick thing, or I don't know. But either way, maybe it's nothing. But you know, I like any move that just makes the players play harder, because it's just so much more fun.
I have something. Now. I have an idea. Yeah. Whether they keep it at one in-season tournament or they go to 2, I think I'm so in on this now all the way. And I'm like, break the system, like try to in the next couple seasons and see if it works. If not, revert back to 1. That's fine. We're in on the 1, but if 1 is good, 2 might be better.
Yeah.
How about this on for size? The winner, let's say they do 2. The winner gets an automatic berth into the playoffs. So even early in the season, you can earn that.
They've talked about that. Like Paul George even said he didn't like that. But
okay, hold on.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So that way you can do the load manage thing, especially if you want to. Then like sit Kawhi, sit Paul George, sit everybody.
After do it right before the All-Star break. So it's like, look, if you want to rest people, after the All-Star break, you can now.
I like this idea even more with 2, right? Because I think they should do 1 per conference, maybe, or something. That way you can even out because if you only gave 1 team the benefit,
I don't know how you do the seeding and stuff. People have talked about that as an incentive. I see some reasons why players think like, I don't love that, because then that might actually that might actually, their point is that might actually like degrade the rest of the regular season even more, like where it's like, now
I get you.
Let's say it's the Nuggets. Now it's like, oh, okay, now we're not going to watch Jokic play for like 2 months, basically. Like that sucks.
I hear you, and that's a good argument.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought about that.
So
I don't know. Go win. Go in
Yeah.
and then decide if you want to play.
Yeah.
How about that? Like,
I'm not. Hey, look, you and I were both marketers. I'm not against testing stuff. You know that,
Yeah.
right? So
let's get it out there.
I'm not against the test. I'm not against not committing to it. Like, hey, we're gonna try this year. I'll finish this. I got a little kind of a little fun thing to finish this with a quick fun thing.
Let's do it.
But I'll finish this sort of more serious section by saying I rarely say hats off to the Lakers. I rarely say hats off to the league. I'm usually very critical of both, and hats off honestly to both of them. Hats off to the Lakers for winning, and hats off to the league for making a thing that nobody thought was going to be cool. Pretty cool, in my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but this is like by and large a lot of the opinion, unless you just want to hate on LeBron. So, all right, I got one more thing here I want to run through. So I asked Grok. Are you familiar with Grok? Do you know what Grok is?
No,
It's not Gronk. It's Grok.
It's Gronk.
So,
I thought it was a typo. Honestly, I was like Gronk. Never mind.
Grok is Twitter or X's new version of ChatGPT. So I asked Grok to roast LeBron James for winning the in-season tournament. See how good Grok is at comedy here. So Grok said, "Oh, look at King James over here trying so hard to win the in-season tournament that nobody else cared about. It's like he's trying to prove something to all the haters out there who said he couldn't win a trophy that didn't matter." That's pretty good. Honestly, usually ChatGPT is pretty bad at roasting usually. But hey, you know what they say? If at first you don't succeed, try again to win a meaningless tournament and act like it's a big deal. And that's exactly what LeBron did. He tried so hard, he could have put his own sweatshop out of business. That's not bars. All right.
Wow.
But let's not forget the real reason LeBron won the in-season tournament, because nobody else cared. It's like being the best player in a pick-up game at the local YMCA. Congratulations, LeBron. You're the king of the court nobody wanted to play on.
Did you wait?
Not bad. Not
so
bad.
You requested this from Grok, right?
This was the prompt. Yeah, that was the
prompt. Did a great job.
Yeah.
Did it also choose to use the Fox News?
No, it's I also asked it. I also prompted it.
I thought that was doing like a.
Yeah, no, it does. It actually gives you a rundown. So this yes, it did. So LeBron James takes home MVP. So it just gives you more tweets about the in-season tournament.
I just feel like it lands so perfectly. If it's like, you could also just make this like a reply to this Fox News thread, like, because that's so perfectly the tone.
Yeah, honestly, Grok, for those of you who are trying to win swag by commenting on our videos, Grok by Twitter, so far the best chat app at roasting or comedy. Usually
probably a hack. We probably start giving out wins to that for sure.
Yeah, so usually like so far AI writing is not good at comedy. That's what I found, but that was not bad. Pretty good roast by Grok. And Grok is actually, it invites that. So it's like, hey, try saying like roast me based on my tweets or something like that. So I think Twitter's taking that angle where it's like ChatGPT is sort of the clear leader. But what if we get better at comedy? So
well, and I mean, ChatGPT. I don't know. I mean,
bars, Grok. Hats off.
It kind of makes sense that like something that kind of I assume Grok pulls just from Twitter. So like pulling from social media itself.
I think it pulls from the whole internet, maybe. But yeah,
maybe.
It could be.
I don't
probably
know.
heavy Twitter for sure.
I like the idea that it pulls more from social media, like in its algorithm, because you're going to get a better thing at roasting. It might not be as. If you told it to write an article, maybe it writes it with a little bit more of like a human tone, less like article sounding than ChatGPT might. But to tell it to roast somebody, you're like, I mean, Twitter's the best place for this. Yeah.
Are
you kidding me? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it probably just sourced all of its lines from other people's tweets.
It probably just patchworks a few things together. Like,
yeah.
Hey guys, use Grok for the comment contest, because come Friday, we're going to pick some more winners. So
we're going to pick some winners from the comments. If you want to join, go ahead.
I landed on last week. I did it solo. So when I pulled winners, I did half our regular vibe of just random winners, and then half the spins, because we did 4. I did 2 from the comments. So that worked out really well. I think that's a good format going forward too, because I always like there to be a random chance for somebody to win, even if they didn't. Because if that was your first time hearing about us and you were just tuning into the show for the first time, you didn't even have a chance to leave a comment yet. So get your comments in while you can. We'll look at comments from our Triple Cross podcast YouTube channel, as well as our Triple Cross football and Triple Cross basketball channels as well. So 3 channels. They're all linked up all over the place. So just go find them.
Yeah, go find it. You can search them. You can do whatever.
On any video, we just look based off the last week. So you can comment on videos that have been posted for a month. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure. Some people comment a bunch of comments on everything to just say like, if I shoot a bunch of shots, I'm bound to make them laugh at some point, which is not.
I will say, when push came to shove and I was picking, it was a lot of people who had fired a lot of bullets. There was only one person who made it pretty far, and they had only put 2 comments out there. Most of them were like, they put like 6 comments collectively over our videos.
Yep.
And they were bound to have a few that were good.
Other main way to win stuff from us is to join us live. So linked up in the description if you're on YouTube or if you're on podcast app, wherever you're listening, is our Playback community, playback.tv/triplecross. Join there, download the app, join our community. Then you'll get notified every time we're live. Like after this show, we're going to close out the show and then we're going to give stuff away to our live viewers. You get kind of the behind the scenes look. So we chat with the live viewers before and after the show and stuff like that. It's a good time. Casey, I had a good time. Glad we got to chat some NBA. Glad we both landed on the same place. Like, hey, anything that makes the regular season better is better. Why do we got to hate on it so much? Like, let's be a little bit less bitchy, NBA fans. I think that's where it is. That's the pod, right?
Yeah, I agree. John, this was a fantastic time. We're going to go ahead over to Playback and give away some of that stuff right now. So if you're watching live, go join us on Playback. And if not, go subscribe to us on Playback.
Subscribe, hit the bell, all the things.
Yeah, that stuff too. Leave us a review if you're listening on audio, by the way. Why not?
Yeah. Review, rate, all the things. That's the pod. We'll see you guys on Friday. Peace.